Welcome back to Indie Film Weekly for the week of July 24th, 2026. I'm your host, Glen Reynolds. This week in theaters, we've got a Beirut romance about two childhood soulmates trying to find each other again while the world around them keeps falling apart. We've got a futuristic horror thriller where a lethal mist swallows a city and the search for family turns into a descent into nightmare. And we've got a Japanese sci-fi drama about grieving parents offered an AI replica of the child they lost, which sounds comforting for about 4 seconds. Quick ask before we move on, if you can see one of these in a theater this weekend. Indie films do not need us to admire them from a safe distance. They need us to buy a ticket before the showtimes disappear. On demand, I've got a sharp, messy, COVID-era comedy about quarantine, family, panic, and a Brooklyn apartment that really needs a no more visitors policy. And for our classic, we're celebrating a 40th anniversary punk tragedy with love, drugs, chaos, and the amazing Gary Oldman. Want the written version of these picks each week? I also publish the Indie Film Weekly newsletter. It's the same 5 films and a quick read. Sign up at newsletter.circusroadfilms.com. Let's dive in. Our first indie film in theaters this week is A Sad and Beautiful World. Directed by Cyril Aris, this Arabic language romantic comedy drama starts with Nino and Yasmina, childhood sweethearts born seconds apart in Beirut. That kind of setup can be very cute, very fast, but the film gives it more weight. These are two people who seem tied together by fate, then separated by life, family, politics, fear, and the daily instability of a country where the ground keeps shifting under everyone. Years later, they reconnect, and the question is not just whether they can still love each other. It's whether love can survive in a place that keeps making ordinary life feel impossible. The film moves through different stages of their relationship, from youthful possibility to adult compromise, with Lebanon's social and political collapse always in the background. That background matters. It's not scenery. It shapes how people leave, return, protect themselves, and disappoint each other. What makes this appealing is the mix of romance and realism. It has humor because people are funny even when things are bad. It has longing because memory is a dangerous editor. And it has a title that sounds like someone describing both a relationship and a country in the same breath. If you like sweeping love stories that still have bite, this is a strong pick. Our second film in theaters this week is Her Private Hell. Directed by Nicholas Winding Refn, this futuristic horror thriller follows a troubled young woman searching for her father as a mysterious lethal mist begins swallowing a metropolis. That is already a strong nightmare image because Frog is creepy enough when it's just weather. Once it starts behaving like Judgment, we have a problem. The film also follows an American GI trying to rescue his daughter from hell, and the two stories seem designed to collide in Refn's usual neon-drenched, dread-soaked way. This is not the sort of film where people calmly explain the rules in a conference room. It's more likely to operate like a fever dream, family desperation, urban collapse, violence, guilt, and a city turning into a trap. Refn's strongest work often treats genre like a mood machine, and this setup gives him plenty to work with. A missing parent, a child in danger, a force that cannot be argued with, a city losing its edges. The pleasure here is atmosphere and pressure, watching people move through a world that may no longer be fully physical. If you want a summer movie that feels less like escape and more like being pulled into someone's bad dream with excellent lighting, this is your lane. Our last indie film in theaters this week is Sheep in the Box. Directed by Hirokazu Kureeda, this sci-fi drama takes a premise that could be an episode of a dystopian anthology and treats it like a family wound. A grieving couple is offered an AI humanoid replica of their dead young son. The copy looks like him, it speaks like him, it has enough familiar details to make refusal feel cruel and acceptance feel impossible. Kureeda is one of the great filmmakers of family life, and that is why this hook is so potent. He's not interested in the shiny gadget version of the story. He's interested in the kitchen table version. What do you do when technology gives your grief a body? What happens to a marriage when two parents do not mourn the same way? What does it mean to love a child who's both present and not present? The film opens in New York and Los Angeles this week before expanding, and it feels like the kind of movie that will play best when you can sit with the discomfort in a room full of other people. The title is odd and memorable, but the emotional question is painfully direct. If you could keep some version of the person you lost, would that help you heal or keep you from ever moving on? So in theaters this week, that's A Sad and Beautiful World, Her Private Hell, and Sheep in the Box. Our Spotlight Indie Film on Demand this week is Stress Positions, directed by Theda Hamill. This is a queer COVID-era comedy set mostly inside a Brooklyn apartment where quarantine has become less a safety protocol and more a full psychological weather system. Terry is holed up while caring for her injured Moroccan nephew, Balul, and he is trying very hard to control the situation. He's not good at it. Friends, exes, neighbors, and emotional chaos keep pushing into the apartment because apparently even a pandemic could not stop people from creating social complications in Brooklyn. Hamill plays Carla, Terry's trans friend, whose narration and perspective keep puncturing the panic and self-importance around her. John Early plays Terry with exactly the right level of frantic collapse, a man who wants to be decent, informed, and in charge, but keeps tripping over his own anxiety. The film is messy by design. It captures the weird claustrophobia of the period, when everyone was trapped with their opinions, their bodies, their internet, and their worst coping strategies. It's funny, prickly, and sometimes exhausting in a way that feels very intentional. You can rent it on Apple TV, Amazon Video, or Fandango at home. Our indie film classic this week is Sid Nancy, celebrating its 40th anniversary. Directed by Alex Cox, this is the punk rock tragedy of Sid Vicious and Nancy Spungen, a love story that behaves more like a slow-motion car crash with a bass line. Gary Oldman plays Sid, the Sex Pistols bassist who becomes famous before he has anything resembling a stable self to carry it. Chloe Webb plays Nancy as needy, sharp, funny, wounded, and absolutely impossible to reduce to a punchline. The film follows their relationship through fame, addiction, hotel rooms, fights, performances, and the collapse that always seems to be one bad night away. What makes it work is that Cox does not clean them up. The movie is grimy, loud, romantic in flashes, and often deeply unpleasant, which is probably the honest route. It understands the appeal of punk chaos, but it also shows the bill when chaos becomes daily life. Oldman is the reason to revisit it. You can already feel the size of the actor he is going to become, but he's not showing off. He throws himself into Sid's blankness, swagger, and damage. This is not a tidy music biopic. It's a portrait of two people who find each other in the wreckage, then keep making more wreckage. You can rent it on Apple TV, Amazon Video, or Fandango at home. And that wraps it for the July 24th, 2026 edition of Indie Film Weekly. If you want to support the show, do the simple stuff. Subscribe so you don't miss next week. Share it with one friend who likes being early. Rate it because it helps the apps take the show seriously. Then leave a quick review. Even one sentence helps. Until next week, keep it restless, keep it romantic, and keep it indie.